Should be good. Ah, hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. Looks like it kicked in really fast again, caught me snoozing. All right, so I guess we had some kind of problem with somebody getting blocked. So maybe I need to remove a moderator, but I can't remember who it was I added. So if somebody could remind me, that would be really good. So basically, I'm over here yapping, so I don't really know exactly what's going on unless someone tells me there's a problem. So thank you for letting me know. Very much appreciate that. Sorry about any problems. Okay, so let's see. What do we got going on here? Who is in? DD74, Ann Gainer, Kai Lucas Zachary, Vivian Messier, Joe Blore, Shoddy D, of course, Four Leaf Clover. You guys are talking about the Addams Family Mandela. So for me, that's an older Mandela that, yes, indeed, there used to be only one D in Addams. And now there's two Ds. But that was quite a number of years ago that I remember that one being discussed. So I don't know if it's just happened for you or you just didn't hear about it some time ago. But I mean, maybe 4 years ago or more. It was well before the pandemic, that's for sure. Okay, let's see. Bill Knight is in. Kind of reading this. Preliminal and Eliza Powell is in. So yeah, if we have any more problems, maybe Shari you know how to contact me. You can let me know who might have been the problem. Okay, someone's talking about Gobekli Tepe getting a new dome. So I think there was a thing to click on here. Let's check that out. So it's kind of a slowish day today, or this week for Mandela's. So we definitely have time to play around. I do have some. Visiting one of the world's greatest archaeological sites in... I see we have a new spelling for Turkey. Turkey. Yeah. Okay. I think I've said before, for me, Gobekli Tepe. I swear it was Gobekli at some time. Gobekli Tepe had those large, dark colored stones, and that was Gobekli Tepe when I first heard of Gobekli. And now it's more this normal looking dig with like regular underground stones. Okay, what are we talking about here? It has a tent or something? Pillar thing. Okay, pillar thing. All right, I'm not sure on that one. Oh, this. Yeah, okay. Dang, the whole thing just looks different. Didn't there used to have more space in the middle here? I thought it was more flat and less of the levels and more flat space in the center. Is this like a different section of it? I don't remember all these million cobbles like this. I remember just like bigger chunks. Don't remember these cobble walls at all. Don't remember that. I do remember there being like kind of animal figures, but I don't remember this one that's like half a one or something, like it's broke. I don't remember seeing that. That looks a little more like how I remember. I don't remember that image. I don't remember there being separate items pulled out like this. It was like, is it all different now? Okay, I think I do remember that tree. That looks familiar. Oh, and you notice I clicked on that, it went straight over there. I just realized I've never seen this whole cover in this whole walkway here. It was open air before, How old is this article? How old? That wasn't that long ago that we checked this. So unless they just put this in. Oh, isn't that a stinker? I don't see any date. You know, it used to be they'd always have date. Ooh, 2022. Okay, so this is recent, October 2022. Go, let me see some of these old ones. Go Blecky Tepe. Go Beckley. I don't know why I have so much trouble. Go Beckley Tepe. I have so much trouble with that one. It's not even funny. And I don't usually have trouble saying words. Okay. Let's see what other images we find. It just looks different. Dang, it just looks way smaller. I thought it was more kind of like 3 times bigger area. Okay, we've got this walkway thing going on again. Looks like a precursor to what we saw before. Let's see. Okay, what about this one? I don't remember it being all a million cobble walls, though, like this at all. I remember there being regular walls with big stones, not just these few keystone-looking things. And there was a whole bunch of, like, animal carvings in them. This looks totally different. Almost totally different. They had a lot of neat animal carvings. I'm not seeing those now. Dang, is anybody else remembering what I'm remembering? Okay, there's the tent. It does look like that might be new. Oh, you talking about Adam's family? No, it is a Mandela. It has officially always had 2 Ds. It is not an out in the open name change. I mean, it's a Mandela that's well known, well, fairly well known in the community, at least in my last timeline. Freshwater jelly in Lake Michigan, new to me. I think that one, well, I don't think we've had them in Lake Michigan before. We've definitely seen the freshwater jellies. Let's see. Freshwater jelly, Lake Michigan. So it started in Japan. There was one lake with jellies that weren't stinging and they were very pretty, and then there was 2 locations that had it, and then there was more locations that had it. So I don't think I remember Lake Michigan having it, though, because that's no tiny lake. Freshwater jellyfish in Michigan. They are native to China's Yangtze River, but they've been found in many places across the United States. Are they going to say they're invasive now? Little round things floating in the water. So they were like, there they are. They were endangered and only in one lake in Japan when I first heard of these about 4 or 5 years ago. Take a look for yourself. There's a ton of them. Ooh, ho, ho, ho. This is no small amount of jellies. Right, first, we don't need to hear the yapping. Close that off. Okay, so I guess all of these are them. There they are, here and here. Yeah, I guess we got the jellies. Go back. Do I hear sounds from somewhere? Actually, it's my own computer that's really loud, like the fan. That might be it. Freshwater jellyfish discovered in Michigan Lake. Okay, they found him in Diamond Lake. That was in 2016. Yeah, I don't think so. Does not pose a hazard to swimmers. Yay, that's still true. All right, let's see what Michigan Radio has to say about it. They've been here a while, and this is in 2017. No, they haven't. So they're going to say they're like, how did they get over here from the Yangtze River? Is it going to blame it on aquariums again? When you catch what appears to be a jellyfish from Lake Erie, so it's not just Lake Michigan. Just so everyone is aware, the Ministry of Natural Resources has been informed. It is an invasive species. They are not a danger to humans, but they're a threat to the ecosystems. Whatever, they were not here. So there's one right in here. Looks like they're not real big. This isn't an uncommon occurrence in the Great Lakes. In fact, freshwater jellyfish have been spotted all over the Midwest since the 1930s. Baloney! Baloney, baloney, baloney. Now, we've covered this. They were not spotted since the 1930s in the USA. I'm not accepting that. Clear and smaller than a penny. That's interesting. Okay, that's not like those Japanese ones. Small, they're tiny. I bet that they'll get bigger. I'm betting we'll see more. They're not, I haven't seen any major issues. They're not considered dangerous. Environmental impact is unknown. Native to China's Yangtze River, but they have been found in many places. Impact is unclear. Freshwater jellyfish seem to be popping up around Michigan, prompting questions about the aquatic animal. That's, okay, that's from 2022. I'm gonna hazard a guess that these are very, very new for many of us, and that's why there's a more recent article. Of course, they've been here since the 1930s. Yeah. Alrighty then. They range in size from a dime to a nickel. The jellyfish collected were never typically near the shore. which may be the reason why many people don't notice them. Yeah. Or because they weren't there. Peart added that the stage a jellyfish is in, their life cycle may also interfere with being seen by others. Yeah, no, so yeah, I guess the freshwater jellyfish have taken over. Somewhere there was a little thing where it said they were like pizzas or something. I was trying to find that, but I was like, oh, I'll come back to it, but now I'm not seeing it. I just wanted to see why they thought they were like pizzas. So yes, we definitely have those. Never heard of jellies living on fresh water. Yes, we had that on a number of years ago, but it, like I said, it started out in just one lake in Japan. I did predict we would get more of them. So I'm going to call that a win for my predictions this time. Japanese balloon attack really freaked me out when I first heard of it. Yep. Ah, yeah, that's interesting you brought up that second attack. I thought about having that on, but I just wasn't sure. So yeah, so the story now is the Japanese attempted to attack Pearl Harbor a second time. And they had these plane boats, flying boats. I don't even get what that even is, but flew all the way from Japan. They did stop over at some atoll somewhere or something for refueling from submarines. But they got through radar and stuff, but then it was all dark and cloudy and they couldn't see where to bomb, and so they dropped their bombs in harmless places, and one of them disappeared and the other made it back, I think was the story. I'm thinking maybe that storyline will continue to grow, but we're seeing more and more attacks on the mainland and our territories, and I think it's because the Earth is shrinking, so it's just easier to reach. Plus, within higher levels of tech back in time, it only makes sense that they would be able to do more and get further. So it's kind of covered up by saying, well, they had bad luck because it was cloudy, and so they didn't do much damage, so that's probably why you didn't hear about it. But yeah, no, I don't think so. Oh yeah, let's go back to Gobekli. So this one, where is that one? So that's that round. I'm not seeing the animal carvings I saw before. Now it does look like they have more here, but gosh, I just don't remember all these cobbles. So there's one here and there's one here. This just wasn't how it was. So I remember a bigger one, and then they were saying there might be another one, but it was like a hill over. It wasn't like right next to it, and they had only just gotten going on that one, and so there wasn't much. So I don't know. This one's a lot different for me. Okay, here, this one is a lot like what I remember. Get up there. Let me see. Let me get a good image, a good big view. Ooh, or not. Okay. This concept, yeah, but I don't remember rows of purses. I don't know what this thing is. I don't remember any of those images. I certainly don't remember rows of purses up here, or padlocks, or whatever the heck that is. So before, when I looked at these, it was pretty much there was a bunch of them. What, I'm just getting the same one over and over again now? It's the purses. I think there might have been something like this. Yeah. Don't remember that. Sitting bird, long legs, and half a bird swimming. And they had them all exposed so you could see them. I do remember like a spider, but not with that many legs. That looks like something else. I don't know. Dang. Nothing looks right. This is just not. I do remember some like in the center, but it was a wider space and there was like 2 or 3 and not one broken one right in the center, but like 3 lower ones. Like I remember some of these keys, they were right, these key shaped things, they were in the middle here, all exposed. They weren't squished into these walls as much. There weren't all these cobble walls. I don't know. This is very different. There was a lot more animal shapes. I've never seen this one before. What is that? So that I guess is, no, I don't even know what it is. It's got feet and a tail. I'll scoot it over here so you can see it. There's a tail and feet, but then what's all that? And then there's, I don't know what that is. So you used to be able to tell it was an animal. Now it's a mystery meat. I don't think I've seen any of these. All right, I'll pull this one over. I don't remember this crosshatch pattern at all. Something is definitely weird here. This thing I do not recall seeing. A lot of this is just alien. The heck? All right. This one is closer. I do remember kind of like a little lizard gator thing. But they were, now they've got this one, which is more like a bas relief or whatever. It's 3D. I don't remember. Let me pull it over so you could see it. Don't remember this 3D thing at all. So, they definitely didn't have like, I've never seen this on anything actually, where you have kind of a flat relief and then the 3D relief on the same exact pillar. I've not seen that before anywhere. Dang, this is just all different. Yeah, I don't know. So Gobekli has changed multiple times for me and looks like there's a pretty big shift here. So most of these don't have the cover, so I'm thinking the cover is new, but keep an eye on it because sometimes those sneak backwards in time. Thought the stones were darker colored. Not hugely so for me. I do remember way back there was huge stone pillars just laid out like matchsticks, and they were really dark and they didn't have any carving or anything on them. And that was my original Gobekli Tepe. And then it changed to this dig with the animals and the light stone. Now it's been this light stone animal thing for a number of years now for me. Each column had a different animal carved on it. Yeah, I do remember some kind of dinosaur looking thing. They were simpler. They were more just animals. They were figures. They didn't have all this geometric stuff on them. I bet the jelly spread to other lakes before long. I would not at all be surprised. They're not even explaining where these ones came from, but you know, they've been here since the 1930s. So however they got there, I guess they could get anywhere. Yeah, so Vivian Mercier, yes, the Japanese did attack Pearl Harbor twice. Successfully bombed Pearl Harbor the second time, except for they dropped bombs, but they missed like all the good targets because supposedly they couldn't see. But you should have heard of it. I mean, really? They attacked twice. Yeah. So check it out. Wait. Pearl Harbor second attack. I did see this like just these last few days. I don't know if somebody else suggested it or what. I was thinking to have it on. It may even be on here. I don't know. Second attack on Pearl Harbor you never heard of. Yes, they know you never heard of it because it didn't exist. This is like classic Mandela talk here. Emboldened by a string of victories across the Pacific in the early months of World War II, the Japanese Empire launched a bold and unorthodox attack that is seldom remembered today. So after the first attack, which did not do as much damage as they hoped, according to Steve Horn's book, The Second Attack on Pearl Harbor, Operation K, and other attempts to bomb America in World War II. Why would the Japanese use the English lettering for their bombing attack names and stuff? Okay, so they would launch Kawanishi H-8K flying boats from the Watje Atoll in the Marshall Islands. The H-8K was considered one of the finest flying boats of the war. I don't even remember there being flying boats. And their extreme range would allow them to fly the 1,900 miles to French frigate shoals in the northwestern Hawaiian Islands. Once there, they would rendezvous with submarines for refueling. The planes would then fly off to Oahu to execute the attack. The primary target was Pearl Harbor Naval Base 1010 dock, so named for its length of 1,010 feet. As a secondary mission, the aircraft were to make careful observations to obtain accurate intelligence of U.S. naval infrastructure. To coincide with moonlight over Pearl Harbor and have maximum visibility, the date planned for the raid was March 4, 1942. So they had lots of problems. They only could get 2 flying boats instead of 4. Japanese crypto analysts had broken the United States Navy weather code before the attack, but by the time of the raid, the code had changed, so they didn't know the weather. Seems kind of weird. I mean, couldn't they just have somebody around that could tell them the weather? Like, they must have had some spies or something that could, like, put out a tiny bit of weather info. It's a code break to learn the weather. It's hardly that good of a secret. The Americans were on the lookout, blah, blah, blah. All right, they didn't talk a lot about it, but I've already said, I'm pretty sure, if I recall when I was looking into it, so one of them made it and 2 of them got through. They dropped bombs. They missed. One of them made it back. The other one didn't. So yeah, the balloon attack, that's been discussed a lot of times. That was a really early on Mandela, like 5, 6 years ago. Jet planes were prevalent at the end of World War II. Yes, there were, I agree with you, Bill Knight, there were no jets in World War II in my timeline, but they did invent that tech earlier now. A lot of you guys are getting a lot of new Mandelas today. They had the first helicopters on ships in 1943, they say. Really? Yeah, no, I don't think so. That's why they had those big long runways and stuff. Lots of young people and children dying of heart failure, but I'm sure there's no particular reason like anything that came out in 2021 that would be blamed for it. Of course not. Of course not. So, from a mechanistic viewpoint, you certainly have to think along certain lines, but I've said it before, and I do think maybe the massive shifts are really what's behind this, with people going off to different timelines. They have to get out of this timeline somehow in a plausible way. And if we have various issues, things to blame it on, I still don't think you leave the timeline or die or whatever those people did. I don't think you go until it's your time. I don't think that I think that situation will just work out, that you'll dodge any bullets sent your way until it is your time, and then you won't. So yeah, climate change killed them. Yes. So from a mechanistic point, certainly from a causal point on the flesh and blood plane, there's certainly a lot of questions to be asked, but on another level, I think it also pays to kind of look at a larger picture. So, they say from a spiritual perspective, leaving here, you go to the nice place, right? So it's like, your job is over. You get to leave work, basically, when you leave here. So when you say it's horrible, I mean, not that I recommend anybody go around helping people along. That is not what I mean at all. But I would say that the ones that really suffer are the ones that are still here and now have to move on without those people, those children and adults and people who pass on. They might have it the easy way. I'm still not advocating for anybody leaving before their time at all, but think about it that way. And I think that's probably right. I can't swear to it. It definitely makes living a little easier to think that way. So there's that too. Okay. So we've got this Gobekli thing. I'm pretty much safe to say I recognize almost nothing. Ooh, look at, they have the dots on the top too. I don't remember the dots on the top. What is that? I don't know why it doesn't want to jump from here to here. That used to be like instant. Open a new tab. Excuse me, hiccups. Where did I just see that? Here. It's not very helpful. These dots, there's a bunch of little pokey dots on the top of these. This one also has it. There's that little gator lizard. This one doesn't have much visible. So I've never seen this before, these little dimples in the top of these. So we've definitely seen that other things have grown weird dimples. So now we see it here. What is the purpose of the dimples? Is that something in the way it's moved? Was it some kind of geopolymer that's been baked, and those are the bubbles on the top? I really don't know what these are going to be. But yes, just noticing those. Another new thing. I know someone who died around 1979 and now he is still alive. I have a friend who refuses to see him. That's interesting. Does the friend believe in the Mandela, or is he just have that one memory and is freaked out? Because I actually think it would be way more freaky if we didn't know about the Mandela, because we know this is happening all over the world. We're not alone. Other people are experiencing it. Somehow being familiar in advance that it could happen and not being alone makes it a lot easier. I mean, can you imagine you're all by yourself and then suddenly just somebody comes back alive, and of course nobody around you will believe it? I mean, that would be very concerning. Pretty soon we'll have medieval knights using laser guns, you know. they'll come up with some kind of primitive like steampunk lasers or something. I wouldn't even be that shocked at this point. People suddenly unliving all over the place, all ages. Yeah, yeah. Although like I said, I really do wonder if it's a timeline split and they're just going to different timelines, and it could be from their perspective they never died. They're just not here for us. From our perspective, they died. Like we've seen that with some of the others, like Cynthia Sue Larson. Some of us don't remember her existing. Some of us, not me, I don't remember her existing, but until a few years ago. Some people swore that she had died. A little before the pandemic, she had died of some kind of illness, and then she wasn't alive again. So from Cynthia's viewpoint, she obviously did not die, and has no knowledge of the timeline where people think she died, except for that a few of them apparently came here to tell her that. So just because they're dead in our timeline doesn't mean we know for sure they're dead in every timeline. They had really good batteries to propel a ship in 1913. Yeah, the storyline now is that it was some kind of secret evil plot by the gas and oil industry to like foil batteries, because we had really good batteries over 100 years ago. That's the current story now. I learned yesterday that a past coworker of mine died over 5 years ago. I was going through old donation papers and had donated to her memorial. I have no memory of her death. That's interesting, because I don't hear a lot like that, like suddenly dead. You know, we get a lot of alives agains, but we don't get a lot of, I don't know, have I ever heard of a suddenly dead? Yours might be the only one. So you had a friend. Now it's a coworker, so that's kind of a fairly distant one, but that would be pretty freaky. Certainly. There's a YouTube commercial for a tactical flashlight which also has a laser saber that burns through stuff. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I have heard that there's some like really low level strength lasers, but they would burn through like paper or something. First electric propeller on a ship, 1913. Yeah, no. So last I checked, we just had those street cars and stuff. That was it, just cars. Now we got propellers. Do we even have electric propellers now? I don't think so. Aren't they still fuel driven? Okay, so this was mentioned by somebody on a chit chat group, and I think blood types have changed again. So what I remember is, in my timeline, there was no such thing as this Rh negative thing, and it's been around a couple years, and a lot of people do remember that in their timeline currently. or last I checked. But it was just a rare thing. Rh negative was a rare thing. And O positive and O negative and all that stuff was not Rh negative. Rh negative was a different deal. It was a different protein antigen thing. So if you're Rh negative, it didn't have anything to do with you being O positive or O negative. But it looks like that's changed. And so they used to just say, are you Rh negative? Well, now if they're saying that, as best I can tell, then you could be O negative is Rh negative. So what that brings up is now, if you're O negative, you're going to face the same dangers as an Rh negative person. So if you're a female and you're Rh negative or O negative or B negative or A negative or AB negative, any of those, if you are any of those and your husband is a positive, then you could have problems in your pregnancy and you have to take special shots. Okay, so how common are these negatives? See if I can find it. That's not the one. It's this one. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Not so much, but so O negative, 7% of the population. A negative, 6%. So let's see, that's 13. B negative, 2%, so 15%. And AB negative is 1%. So 16% of the population now has this negative issue. And if you're one of those 16% and a female, the chances of you having a positive blood type mate are fairly high. I am really confused. I mean, first of all, it doesn't make a lot of sense that nature would make us to have pregnancy problems for, 10% or ish or more of the female population are at risk with pregnancies because they are a Rh negative type and their significant other would probably not be. So here they're kind of chit-chatting. Only worry is if mother is negative and the father is positive. So then there's all these people talking about how I guess you just have to get shots then. If you have to get a set of shots, 2 different runs. ROGAM puts temporary Rh factor antibodies in the mother's blood so her body doesn't produce its own. So it puts antibodies in so you don't make the antibodies. I confused. Why would your body not make the antibodies? I mean, this is really confusing me. You will still need the ROGAM shots for this pregnancy, but additional monitoring of antibodies may be required. The baby's blood will be typed at birth. If your husband is carrying a recessive gene for an Rh negative, you may end up with an Rh negative baby anyway, in which case you won't need the second post-birth ROGAM shot. So basically it's an incompatibility if the baby is Rh positive and the mother is an Rh negative. And there's a very high chance of that happening if your husband or significant other is Rh positive. My ex-husband is O positive and I'm O negative, and both our kids are Rh negative, so they didn't have to get the second ROGAM shot. My husband and I also have Rh factors. It's different Rh factors. It's fairly common. And your doctor will know when you need the ROGAM shot, so don't worry about body rejecting the baby. So apparently, if the baby is Rh positive, mother's Rh negative, the mother could reject the baby because it's like, what are these? See, I just don't really get why that would be the case, because the baby does not have your DNA, and it has all bunch of differences all through the protein structures of the blood and all kind of stuff. But somehow the mom just triggers on this Rh factor. It's not logical to me. It's how can DNA from the baby spread around the body and not cause a big problem and even take root and stuff now? But yet suddenly this one little protein is like, reject, attack. That just was never a thing for me, and it's not logical. Then I've got to research this more, because they're like, the first child it happens to is different, like, and if you have another child there can be additional problems if the first child was Rh positive. My mother has O negative blood and I'm AB positive. I'm also her only child. Apparently she had no problems carrying me, but she could not have any other children after me except with a partner that also had O negative blood, because she was sensitized by her pregnancy with me. So I don't know if you have to have a shot of any blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, this is all like new to me. I don't know. This woman's AB negative, and she had the shots for each child she's had. Back in the old days, having a negative Rh factor could have been a problem for a pregnancy, but these days it shouldn't be a worry. Just be sure to talk to your doctor about it. I was surprised when I was pregnant to find out about this as well. I have an A negative blood type and my husband is O positive. I was given a shot. In my case, the child had Rh positive blood type. My doctor also gave me a card stating I was Rh negative and informed the doctors and nurses about it when I went in for labor. It turned out my son was Rh negative, so it wasn't a problem. My doctor made me feel that it was not a huge deal, just something they needed to know about and deal with. Yeah, I just remember it being very few people that were these Rh negatives, not like 15% of the population. And I don't remember it being the same as regular blood types. O blood is the most common and newest blood. Even that's weird. I mean, like, why did it get more common than the old bloods? So I was just reading now, which I don't remember ever reading before, that A is the oldest blood, and that's the blood I have. Now, who knows? Maybe in a year it'll shift and it'll be some newest blood or whatever. Who the heck knows? But it just keeps changing. A positive used to be the most common. That's interesting. For me, it was definitely O by a huge margin for most of my life. And then A positive suddenly got really close, but it has not overtaken O in any of the timelines I've checked for, including this one. I would guess Rh negative would be like 2%. No, it's like 15% now. I think A used to be a lot more rare than it is now, too. Not rare, but it wasn't like almost as common as O. You and I have older bloods with more spikes. Yeah, beats me. I don't know. I don't remember ever hearing that my blood type was the oldest either. So that's also, but there's a whole weird story behind that, because my mom always told me I had O blood. Okay, and back then there was no O positive and negative. There was just O. You had O and it was O. And then when I went and gave blood one time, when I was a little older, they said I had A. And I'm like, wow, no, I have O. They're like, no, you have A. So it could be that my mother was wrong. She she was not super reliable about details. So I don't want to say it's the Mandela and my blood type changed, but it is a little strange that I was supposedly O. And I also had done like the data and tracking the blood types, and I had asked what my dad's was, and I had, when I was talking to him, I said I have O, and he never argued with it. He didn't say no. So he would also have to be wrong on it, and he is a little better on details. So it is a little strange, a little strange. My B blood is dying out, only 4%. Yeah, who knows? Maybe it'll change on you. O stands for original. Well, I don't know. Apparently A is the oldest one now. So O doesn't stand for original. B was very common before. Yeah, I don't, this is just some business. So what's the most common is, it's getting close now. O positive, 37%, A positive, 36%. It was not that close last time I checked. There was like at least 5 points between these two. All right, now you add in negatives, O negatives and A negatives, and you got neck and neck with O's versus A's here. B 10% and AB 4%. Now I do remember AB as being the most rare. Okay, so, but I don't remember there being an O positive and an O negative. It was just O. So that was a while ago. Oh, it's getting real complicated. I do think we might have had a big old shift lately. Just people are telling me things again, like, well, what? You know, like stuff about them that I've never heard that I probably should have heard. Now, I can't swear to it, but a number of people are just saying stuff that I just feel like they're different. I can't really, it's not, there hasn't been a smoking gun on them, but there's been a number of people this week. I mean, all of them could have explanations, but it just seems like a lot. O blood evolved and dropped the spikes, allowing it to defer viruses. Yeah, I don't know. I should check into the O stands for neither A nor B. Yeah. At one point that was true anyway. A positive is almost the same as O positive. I thought it was almost as rare as B. I think way back, A and B were fairly similar, kind of rare, fairly rare, and then AB was the very rare. So, but it's been a while that I've been noticing A has been racing to the front, and it is almost there now. It is almost going to surpass. I wonder if it will, just because the pattern I'm seeing with A coming to the front so quickly. I just learned that animals have way more blood types than humans. They do now, because they don't even just have like how we do genetics, where it's just the male and the female that just split and recombine. No, there's all confusing now. There's just like, it's crazy. I didn't even look into it because it looks like it's going to take a lot of research to understand it, and it keeps shifting. So even if I figure it out, it'll probably change again. If B can survive, they live the longest. Most centurions have B blood. Interesting. I don't know. You know, a lot of this just stuff just pops up. I've never heard that before, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's shown up. All right, so there's the blood types. Yeah, see, it looks like now Rh positive blood types are A positive, B positive, O positive, and AB positive. Rh negative blood types are A negative, B negative, O negative, and AB negative. So it looks like now this is just added in. This Rh factor is added in. They're talking about heritability. There was some weird stuff with heritability too. Like some of them are dominant and some of them are recessive. So it's definitely getting confusing. Milky Way map is really dense. Okay, let's see. That one's been confusing for a... Ooh, it looks really bright. Wow. This one's been confusing for a while because there's like 3 or 4 different ones and they're all like from different eras, like 2 decades ago, 1 decade ago, and they keep changing. None of them look like the old one. All of these maps are brighter than I remember, like by a big stretch. That's interesting. Dangs. Yeah, you're right. They all look weird. So we got what? A lot more stars, or did they just change the way they like to depict it? I don't know. It's not like I had the number of stars memorized. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, all of them are really bright. Ooh, look at the size of that bar in the center. It is huge and bright. Our bar galaxy is getting more bar-y. Look at how big the bar in the bar galaxy, our bar galaxy, is now. It's getting big, big, bigger. We're gonna end up like a giant stick. It's not gonna be round anymore if this keeps up. Dangs. I've not ever seen this angle before. See if it'll jump over. Yeah, interesting. So, there's Sagittarius. I'm having trouble processing it from that angle. All right, what's all this crap? What? Oh, this is comic books. Okay. Where's the Delta Quadrant? Okay, what is this now? Is this comic books? Deviant art. Okay, so that's more comic books. All right, let's just look at this one. See, it looks bright. Scutum Centaurus, Norma Arm, near 3 kpc, far 3 kpc, galactic bar. Galactic bar and long bar. Last time we covered that the galactic bar and the long bar have turned into different things. That was there last time. There's Sag. Oh man, it's so bright. It's hard to. Are they gonna like blind us so we can't see changes? It's like a white map, and you're like, ah. All right, Orion Spur, Sun. Man, with it all bright like that, there's not much left of Orion Spur. It's going to be the new strategy that we can't see changes because it's all such a blur. Let's try this one. See, no, you can't see anything in there. Our solar system. That must be Orion's spur there. There used to be like kind of a cross thing over here, but I really can't see it in here. Micro lensing exoplanets. Okay, whatever you say. Solar system here. Man, you can't see anything. Okay, that's I think that might be more cartoon stuff and gaming stuff. Fandom powered by Wikia, yes. It's interesting because last time I looked, there was no maps of territories according to various gaming scenarios, video games and stuff. What in the heck is that? Yeah, I don't know. I can't really make heads or tails of most of this now. The ones I already found might be as good as it gets. Galaxy is brighter. I'm going to write that on there. Bigger bar. Okay, I don't know. Let me know if you find a better map, but that's all I could find. Few have claimed to have flip-flopped from Sag to Orion back to Sag. That would be a trip. Can you imagine all these years going, arm, wah, and then being there again? That would be a trip. What happened to the big hole? Yeah, that's right. It was black holes, but then black holes turn white now. Black holes emit light. So now there's super mega something something black holes. And now I know black holes are white and up is down. I hope to see a dog-shaped galaxy chasing the stick galaxy. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Anything is possible. It's just ridiculous. All of those pictures are just drawings. The thing is, if they started desiring to make them brighter, I should still find plenty of images from 2 years ago on there. There should be some like there were, and there are none. Those aren't all from the last 2 years. If you start clicking on them, you'll see that they go back. You know, plenty of them go back. I can't believe what I see in the night skies. It definitely seems like that weird rift thing that is supposed to be the main portion of the Milky Way is getting more and more pronounced in the sky if you go out to where there's not too much light. I think if I move from point A to point B regarding Sag and all that, that means end of life. Yeah, I don't know. It kind of feels like, all of this has been a slow progression, and we couldn't jump that far. And what the most of the things that I see are real jumpy, are little bitty things, like the spelling of a word or something. It doesn't seem like, say, the mountains slowly morph into one thing and then suddenly jump back to the way they were. Not like geographical ones. There hasn't seemed to have been any large jumps in geographics. The other thing I haven't really seen super flippy floppy is alive agains. So Cynthia shows up, she's alive in this timeline. If she dies again, I would expect it to be a natural death. She wouldn't just disappear. So we don't have suddenly deads, except for that one you just said, but I have not seen much suddenly deads. And I think I need to see more than one to really feel like it's here. That would be kind of a new deal if we started seeing a lot of suddenly deads. Maybe the Earth is just a gerbil cage. Heck, flat Earth, that's just the top of the plastic there. Maybe the stars are like the air holes for the gerbil. Because, you need to let air in or the gerbil will suffocate. Yeah, we can go on and on about the geology changes for a long time. Okay, where am I? So, I don't even know where to start. Let's do turkeys. So we've talked about parthenogenesis. Originally it was parthenogenesis before it was non-existent. And that is when a female can just reproduce without the male. And I believe in parthenogenesis, the offspring would be clones. That's how they used to say it. They would be copies of the female. So the female would basically use her own DNA to make another female. And the female that grew up would have that same DNA, like of the mother's cells. So there'd be no mixing with the male DNA. And that's why it would be another female, because you wouldn't have you wouldn't have that Y chromosome in there to make it a male, because you didn't get any Y chromosome donation. So I've been talking about this, and more creatures are doing it, and now they have like lizards that have a whole species that don't have males. And so I was surprised today to see that turkeys and chickens can now breed via parthenogenesis. You don't need a male. They can just lay fertile eggs. Now, they said a lot of them don't end up working out, but some of them do, and this is new. This is a new twist, so I think we're going to see more. So just not having a rooster is not enough anymore. Turkeys and chickens. And what else did I find? Oh, and this is a little bit less fun. Cockroaches. Oh boy, cockroaches. They don't need the male anymore. And it's interesting because when I was talking about cockroaches, like I found one at my new shop and I caught it and threw it out, and everybody was telling me, like so many people were telling me where they like to lay their eggs. Oh, look in the back of computers, because if it was a female, she would have laid her eggs. I'm like, she was only in there for like one day, but if she was a female, it could have happened, right? So everybody's telling me they have all this knowledge about where the females lay eggs. And then I looked into it, and cockroaches give live birth now. They don't lay eggs. Now, everybody thinks they do. They have all this in-depth knowledge of where they like it. They don't do that anymore. So they have the eggs, but they have the eggs kept on their abdomen and like kind of under this protective thing, and then they hatch and pop out live. So it's not like a live birth like mammals do it, but basically they're carrying the eggs on them and they fall off the female already wiggling. So there is no place to check for cockroach eggs anymore because they are on the mother and they fall off like full-blown roaches. So that's particularly gross. Okay, turkey. And one of the reasons I'm looking this up is because I just saw this earlier today. And I realized there was something I almost missed, because when they said that they were clones, at one place I saw they said near clones. So if they're not full clones, then the definition of parthenogenesis is shifting. So I wanted to see if I can find that again. Parthenogenesis is the development of viable offspring from unfertilized eggs, no sperm necessary. So, even we had chickens for like 10 years at least. And my mom had chickens when she was young, and then she had them again for like another 10-ish years. And we always said, okay, if no rooster gets at the chicken, there will be no live egg hatching. Because sometimes those little chickens will hide those eggs and you don't always find them. And they could hatch into chicks if there's a rooster around. But if you have the roosters locked up or don't have any roosters, you're fine. That was always the case, but it is not the case anymore. Darn it, they don't say, I'm going to need that word clone. Clone. Yeah, they were saying it was a near clone, and I just realized that is more than 40% of incubated, unfertilized eggs laid by birds of this strain can reasonably be expected to undergo development, at least to the degree where sheets of unorganized. So they're basically saying that a lot of them don't make it to full adulthood, but a strain of Beltsville small white turkeys regularly produce eggs with marked predisposition to develop parthenogenically. 40% of them. At least to where sheets of unorganized shells can be detected macroscopically when eggs are broken. All right, and then there's no more info. Okay, they can basically clone each themselves. Now they're saying a sarcoma virus associated with parthenogenesis. So you're going to have a virus that causes you to clone yourself? Are you effing kidding me? All right, parthenogenesis in unfertilized eggs of domestic turkey, first noticed in 1952. 16% showed parthenogenic development following an incubation period of 9 to 10 days. In 1959, embryos developed in 342 of 2,926 eggs tested. That represented 11.7% of embryos. Okay, that's it for that. All right, I'm not finding that near clone thing. I think we're going to see additional development, pardon the pun, of this parthenogenesis cloning business, though. Basically, chickens and turkeys can do virgin birth, and so can cockroaches. Oh boy. So the only thing we're really missing now is like for the Jesus story is that she had a male, and like Mary had supposedly had a male virgin birth. And there's not an explanation for a male virgin birth yet, to my knowledge. You could have other females, but not a male. The other thing I saw when I was going through all this stuff is I've covered before those teratomas, which are like creepy cancer balls, like that originally could be in various places, but now seem to happen mostly in the uterus of human females. And that story was just like kind of like a it was just like a cancerous cell, they said. But now the story has shifted that those, and I had them on because they would have teeth and hair and all creepy crap. You know, can you imagine a tumor with teeth and hair? The story now, when I was going through this, was that those are probably human egg cells that attempted parthenogenesis, but they did not have all the mechanisms required to fully form. So instead, they caused a giant, disgusting, creepy tumor with various flesh parts and teeth and things, but not full development, which is so grossly creepy. Very, very, very creepy. And I would not be surprised if we saw more of that teratoma thing. I'm not going to put them on because we don't need to get grossed out on yet another series, another episode of the show. But remember a while back there was a birth in a shark tank only containing female sharks. Yeah, tons of sharks do it. There's like a whole bunch of sharks. I don't remember birds though. And so now we've got turkeys and chickens and stuff. So I think we'll get mammals eventually. Probably not huge long time before we get mammals, but they aren't here yet. We don't have the mammals yet. But the story is shifting. Like I said, the teratomas there's now sayings that they're probably attempted parthenogenesis that failed. That was never in the storyline before. Everyone says IV is the only correct way to say 4. Yeah. That one is a strong one for me too, because when it first shifted, it was just really rare that you would see the 4 hash marks. And as you learned, that was illegal and it had to be IV. And when I first heard of the shiftings, I went up and I have an old-fashioned clock upstairs, and it still had the IV at that time, and then later it shifted to the 4 slashes. So I saw that one happen kind of almost in real time in my house. Okay, so we got that one. Okay, I will put on that guy that was on the thumbnail. So basically, I just needed something for the thumbnail, and I found these guys, so they went up. Malaysian deadleaf mantis. So it actually, I saw this one on Reddit. I probably should pull up the Reddit one. So what this thing does is it has its front legs and it brings them up to look like it has a giant mouth. And then it wags around like this. And if you're a predator, you think it's the mouth of the thing, but it's not. So there was one that actually was spreading around Reddit. So you can see this looks like a mouth. There's all these hairs and stuff. But actually, this is the head of the mantis, or whatever the heck it is. And then these are the legs, and it just folds it to look like a giant mouth. And then the back of the head has these flaps that also make it look like, you know, a bigger head than it really is, like that. So basically, it's trying to say, I have this huge head, don't mess with me. I've never seen those before, and they are cool. Of course, these creatures now fly, and they have their colorful wings all folded, and blah. I think this one also looks like a leaf on the top, so it's got, it looks like a dead leaf, but it has a fake mouth and wings, and it's just like, come on, people. This is getting ridiculous. So there's really few of these images of these guys making their fake mouth too, which is interesting. Okay. Turkeys. Trying to decide which ones I'll put on. Man, I've already managed to talk so much. Okay, already covered that one. All right, I've got another weird creature. So I was talking with somebody named JoJo's, and we kind of found these. She found a lot of them. Sifaka. I forgot what started the subject, though. But we ran into some more primates that we don't remember recently. I mean, I've been watching the primates for a while, and this looks like another guy. So basically that's the head of them. So slow. So there's these ones called sifaka lemur, and there's a bunch of kinds. I believe this one is crown. That picture's almost too big. I think we'll probably see more development of these, because they don't have that much of a crown yet. There's quite a bit of variation in them also. So there's this guy. I've certainly never seen anything like that before. Buggy eyes and stuff. There's another one. So I'm not sure if these lighter head ones, maybe they're younger or something. There's a lot more variation in an individual species now than I ever remember seeing. And that's really common in this timeline. Trying to get that one to go over there. There's no way to speed it up. See, just, it looks like a really bad Photoshop where you stuck like a face of one animal onto the body of another and you sucked at it. It really looks like that head is glued on. Okay, so if we just type in sifaka, there's some other kinds. I think the crown one was the more interesting one, but there's a number of these sifaka lemurs. Okay, so you got this guy. Ugh, the loading is so slow. Oh, it's sifaka. 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 I wrote it sloppy. Okay. Sifaka lemur. Sifaka. Okay, so that one has this weird kind of a helmet head. This is another thing. I saw some of them have these weird blotches on them. I think this is a different sifaka. So he's a normal head, but then it's just got these seemingly random, sudden, dark blobs on them. I've never seen that before. It's a weird coloration, too, because usually there's some kind of ticking on the tail or on the face. You don't usually just have the upper half of the legs only with super brown coloration and the whole rest white. I have not seen such a coloration on any creatures before. Okay, here's another one. Again, these, I guess what they're all folded up, maybe that's to try to break up the outlines, but you can see that again, there's a upper shoulder leg line and then an upper haunches line, and yeah, interesting. They kind of connect when he's crouching. Okay, here's another kind. I'm not sure which kind this one is. It's probably another sifaka. So that one's got gold and gray and a smaller bat-like face. Again, these are all lemurs, though. So there's like three real obvious kinds. There's this gold and gray one, the white with the black smudges, and then that crown one. Looks like they're pretty good at walking upright too, I might add. Check this out. If this will load. I don't know why it's taking so long from go to here to there. See, he walks. Ooh, look at those thumbs. They're huge. That's crazy. Look at those feet. I have not seen that before. That's pretty next level feet. Yet he walks fine on his back legs, apparently. Crazy. We also found, I think JoJo's found this one. There's a tailless Indri lemur. It has no tail. And have you ever heard of a monkey without a tail? Well, we do have one. It's called Indri lemur. So it's kind of like a bear almost. There's something wrong. I have not seen these before either. It is not right. So this one again has this weird upper leg and shoulder colors, but then it has some on the hands. So I've been watching the monkeys for quite a bit, and this guy's weren't in there last time I looked. It kind of looks like a human in a monkey suit too. I mean, doesn't that look like a human in a monkey suit? Yes, it does. The head's a little small, but look at that. It just looks like a dude with pants on. It's got no, I think, is there a nub there? There's no real tail. This looks like it was made up in a sci-fi show. Of course, I've said that before, but Cute, sort of. So those are new for me. All of these sifakas. Well, that one's interesting. It looks like they're going to develop a bright color maybe on the top there. Ooh, it looks like they have creepy hands too. This is, it's like super furry and then it's suddenly super rubbery. It looks like it really looks like something out of a TV show. It doesn't look real. It goes from instant plushie to instant rubber. Okay, so there's some new beasties. And yeah, the animal simulator is back in operation, clearly. If you watch the series Friends, the curious George that Rachel gives to Ross's monkey at the airport still has a tail. That's interesting. Be worth checking that out. My cat is sitting on my keyboard watching the lemurs. Yeah, she probably does think they're a cute little squirrel. Yeah, people in the city, there's a lot more gunshots and stuff. It's weird. I've almost just like, probably a gunshot. I've kind of gone the reverse. I'm just like, whatever. It's not close by. Okay, let's see. I got that one. Yeah, I managed to chat an hour and 40 minutes. Okay, I'm going to do this one because I've had this one on a couple times, but it just keeps morphing into more weird. Anyway, it's been a while since it's been on, so some of you might not have seen these. Okay, so we've had these on before, but I really just remember it being only the eye stalks that did it. And now it goes all the way down the neck, and I'm kind of guessing it probably continues down under the shell. So basically, this is some kind of a parasite that grows inside the snail and takes over the snail and makes it zombie and makes it go out in the daylight and show itself. And meanwhile, the parasite does this weird pulsing, excuse me, hiccups today, jimmy jammy thing. And I just remember it here, and then it moved to kind of a little lower and more extreme. But now it's all in the neck, and it looks like it goes all the way under. So I'm still trying to figure it out because it's a parasite, but how many are in here? Is this like one here and one there? Or is this two here and then two more there? How does this, because they're all pulsing differently. All four of these now pulse. So it used to just be one in each eye socket, but now there looks like there's four of them in here. And the other thing I've noticed is when you start looking at these, they used to be all kind of greenish and striped, but now some have like green and red, some have more green. Also, the original antenna here were nowhere near this fat. They were really thin. And the latest I've heard on this is they're saying that sometimes, so the goal here is to attract birds. The birds come down and eat this because it looks like a caterpillar. That's the story. And the motion attracts it. And then it breeds inside the bird. And then the bird poops. And then eggs get on the ground. And then maybe some snails will roll over the poop and get infected. So it seems like a whole lot of shilly-shallying around. Why even bother? Why not just breed inside the snail? Why would you have this second species? I mean, what would be the possible advantage? I guess maybe you could fly further, but still, how would something like this even develop? It's just insanity, and it doesn't make sense. So now the story is sometimes the birds come down and they only want the caterpillar. I guess birds don't like snails. I don't know. I mean, it just seems kind of weird to me. But so the birds would see these caterpillars, and sometimes they would pluck them out, and then they would free the snail from them. And then the snail supposedly can regrow all the damage, like these eye stalks, and go back to being an ordinary snail. And as long as the snail doesn't move over any more infected bird poo, he would live happily ever after. So not only does it get zombified, but it has a chance to get unzombified. So I have not heard that aspect of the storyline. I have not heard of snails being able to regenerate to that level before now. So interesting. Let's see. Actually, I think they had a bunch of them on here that showed the different colors. Let me see. Okay, so here we have one that has black with green. And then the first one had like the reddish with the green. This one has more red on the tips and green over here, and black speckles, more green. So basically these things are, this one's got like more olives and browns and oranges. So now there's this huge variation, it seems, in these parasites. Before they all look kind of the same, but now it could be red, green, black, or orange. So I guess what we need, purple and blue are the only ones left. How is this just one parasite, though? It's got all these colors. That's the one we saw in the beginning. More reds and greens. So they were just green for me before. Stripes of green, light green, dark green, and white. There were no reds in there, and there were no black specklings. So these guys have upgraded. They now go all the way down into the body, or can. So I still see a few the old way. Is that this one has less of the parasite? But if you can have less, what if you only have one of the parasite? Will you just have one antenna that's infected? There's no images of any such. There's another kind with a lot of dark green on this one. So I think that's all I really have for today. Managed to talk a lot. 147. Okay, so I think I'm pretty much done unless you guys have anything. I remember when people used to believe in the theory of evolution in the 2010s. Well, now we have this epigenetics thing that really puts a wrench into it. It's actually kind of going backwards in many ways to more along the lines of your environment and your learnings in this lifetime are then inherited by your offspring. Not just the genetics, but memories, basically. Right now, simpler memories, but the one with the so yeah, so basically the story is I just don't remember the zombiness going past the antennas, but now it goes all into the neck and everything. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just evolutionarily, I don't understand how this whole super complicated life cycles and development could really happen. There's just not a decent explanation for it. We are not in a drought here in northeast USA, but rivers are very low, and the spring fed stream near my house ran dry last week. WTF. That is interesting. They'll probably come up with some kind of storyline for it. Or maybe it has always been that way now, and you don't remember correctly. I definitely, since I moved here, we have a stream near here that used to run about at least half the year down by me. So it starts up further uphill, and then it would run almost all year up the hill, and about half the time by the time it got to us. And we had a very soggy region way down by the road there, and that's mostly I don't know when the last time I saw it run down here, and that was even before the droughts. It just doesn't run down here anymore, it seems. And the soggy area is just not soggy anymore. And come to think of it, that might be why a number of the oak trees just keeled over. They were growing in that soggy land, and it's not soggy anymore. Of course, they were quite old, so that could be it too. Oak trees generally don't make it past about 200 years, but that change may have kicked them over. I don't know, but lost several of our really, really big old oak trees up in there. Yeah, it's been a while since I had that on, so I guess it does pay to do updates on these because a lot of people haven't seen the first two times that guy was on. We're going to get some rain. Are we supposed to? I did see a little bit of dark clouds, but you know, those brown clouds don't mean as much as they used to anymore. I'll have to look that up. I was actually hoping we would, though, because my trees really could use some watering. New Zealand in my earth was mid-north above Australia. Interesting. And it wasn't peninsula shaped, and it wasn't divided in two. So New Zealand definitely seems to be one that everybody had it in a different spot. For me, it was east and snuggled up near the coast. It was not in two pieces, and it was a lot smaller, at least compared to Australia, than it is now. It's much bigger. So then it kind of, I wasn't paying attention until I learned of the Mandela. Then it was way out in the ocean, like way southeast, way out there. And then since then, it's been kind of sneaking back towards Australia as we're running out of ocean. The Antarctica is coming up, and the space in between is disappearing. So it has no choice. It has to move back. I've definitely talked to people who remember it on the West Coast. So you might be the first one I heard about mid-north above. But I've also had people tell me it's changed places numerous times. I think Dark Wolf said he's seen it all over the place. So it is interesting that apparently, at least in some timelines a while ago, there was a joke that New Zealand is often left off the map. So I think it's interesting that it had this reputation for being left off the map, and it is one of the most shiftiest of all places, as far as a lot of people are concerned. And there was no lore about it being left off the map in my older timelines either. That was before everything started wiggling around. New Zealand has moved at least 3 times for myself, meaning Bill Knight. So where was it? Where did it squiggle around to then? Because mine is pretty straightforward. You know, it just moved way off the coast and down, and now it's slowly inflating, breaking into pieces, and cruising back up. The shoebill stork, yeah. Yeah, so that guy, it came and then it continues to morph. It grows, it has that weird fuzz on the beak now. There's more like hook to the beak, and it makes gunshot noises now. It slams its beak parts together and makes a sound that sounds like a semi-auto firing. Bang, bang, bang. Kazakhstan changed several times, bigger each time. Yes, way bigger, way, 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 way bigger. Let's see. All right, so Bill Nye remembers it was southwest. That would be that way for you guys. Really? And then all the way to northeast? Seriously? Okay. No, that would be that way to you guys. All right, I'm going to do it my way, and it's going to be opposite for the left-right. So southwest for me, then northeast. What was the third one? And then southeast. So you went like this for you, here to here to here. And for me, and from your perspective, it would be here to there. That's right, here to there. Yes. Yeah. I've seen a lot of shifts, but that hasn't been super shifty for me from New Zealand. It has been. I mean, it's way off, but so's Australia. I almost want to say, like, maybe New Zealand just stayed where it was and Australia left and cruised on out of there, and New Zealand didn't go with, and that's why it was further away. It would make sense from my perspective, not for people where it jumped all over, but yeah, Darkwolf said it jumped around a lot too. Yeah, so the beak clapping like a machine gun for the for that bird, that was kind of later. It wasn't that long ago. Sabe is real. I have pics. I don't know what Sabe is though. Indonesia was very small and it was a single landmass. I do remember Indonesia having islands, but not nearly as many as it has now. I remember New Zealand tourist commercials in 1990s as a hot tropic destination, as did Chick. I do know that I don't remember any snow. I think it was fairly tropical. I don't know if it would, maybe it would be on the edge of subtropical. So basically it was like Australia was mostly tropical, except for the center was like desert. But then New Zealand didn't have much center, so it was all edges near the ocean, so it was basically tropical. It definitely did not have snow, and it does now, and it is very subtropical now. I think it's because Antarctica is sneaking up on it. So it's down quite a bit, and if you're going to be near Antarctica, I guess you got to be cold, at least for now. Oh, Lone Ranger and Tonto Kimo Sabe. Yeah, I have lost the, oh, Sabe. Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, I actually just heard of the Native American term for Bigfoot a few months ago, maybe like 1 or 2 months ago. And I do remember that it's Sabe. And that's interesting because I had not heard it forever. And then suddenly now I'm hearing it again. So the first time I heard it, I'm like, well, maybe I didn't know. But we've got 2 people with Sabe now. So apparently that's in the timeline. Okay, well, I'm pretty much close to done now. My home Earth was so different. What is happening? Why is... I don't know. I think we just have to evolve. That's my only guess. There used to be less big islands and far more tiny islands. Hundreds more. Okay. Yeah, could well be. So I just don't remember there were, there was all these little islands, but they weren't established. They were little dinky things. So I do agree with you on there. And plus all of those islands above Australia, Papua New Guinea getting bigger, just so much developing up there. Yeah, I don't know how Oprah Winfrey got in with the Bigfoot conversation. I feel a little lost in here. All right, anyways, I gotta go because we're hitting the 2-hour mark. So, and I'm pretty much done. So sorry, latecomers, you catch the tail of it. Anyways, so you know the drill. Think good thoughts, everybody. Thank you for coming. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.